Welcome to day 4, Automated Webinars 101. In this video, we're going to take a step back. We're going to understand why automated webinars work, what they are, how to use them, and how to best leverage them. So, what are automated webinars? Well, simply put, automated webinars are recorded videos that your audience can watch. You're not live, you're not there, and it's running on autopilot. Now, does that mean there's no work involved? No, it means we're doing all the work up front so that we can reap the benefits later on in an automated fashion. So, all the pre-production, all making sure that the actual webinar and workshop is valuable, recording that actual video, setting it all up, automating the email sequences, automating the follow-ups, marketing this, all this stuff is going to be done beforehand so that we are set to go when we go live. Now, automated webinars are really powerful because it allows you to scale your marketing efforts. That's really why they're so great. Now, full honesty, full transparency, when it comes to webinar conversions to a sale, on one particular webinar, live webinars will convert better because there's that interaction, because there's that live aspect, because people can get their answers to their questions answered quickly. We'll talk about interaction and engagement in the actual automated webinar a bit later, but when it comes to the actual webinar, the webinar itself, one webinar, a live webinar will convert at a higher rate. That's just statistically known. And this is what we've seen with all our users in Webinar Ninja. This is what I've seen in my own experience of doing over 500 webinars. Now, you might be saying, well, where's the value in automated webinars? Well, they still convert. Not as high as live webinars, but what's great about it is that it's automated. I mean, how many live webinars can you do a week? Once a week? Twice if you're really, really working hard? Well, with automated webinars, you can run several webinars every single day. If you wanted to, you can run an automated webinar every hour. I'll tell you about my recommendations later on when we do the setup. But what we're talking about here is overall, you're going to get more sales and more leads because of the scale, because I can do this over and over and over and over, and I still can interact, and I'll show you a little bit later. I still can answer questions, but it's just not in real time. So automated webinars are so powerful because of that, because I can do it over and over. So even if I get half as many sales as an automated webinar and a live webinar, I can run the automated webinar over and over to new audiences without having to be present. So that's the power of automated webinars. What else? Well, automated webinars are great for lead generation. Why? Because there are options like I'll show you where you can get people to opt in sooner than later. So let me tell you what I mean. If I'm running a Facebook ad, if I'm even just putting it up on Facebook or Instagram, hey, I have a new webinar, and I post it, people can register for that webinar and get the value very soon, either immediately or they can register and watch it that day at some time. When people register for a live webinar, the conversion is not that high. Why? Because there's delayed gratification. They won't be able to get that value until later on, maybe a few days later, maybe a week later. So with automated webinars, it's easier to convert off an ad because of that instant gratification. So how do we maximize our results with automated webinar? The key is the content. We're going to really focus on creating an amazing workshop with a great offer. We're going to even show you how to transition from the workshop to the offer, how to create that irresistible offer, how to follow up them to make sure that the offer is apparent and they get all those touch points and that you convert. You really got to have a tight production, and we're going to show you how to put it all together in the challenge, okay? But this is the key. This is where we're really going to focus on. When you do a live webinar, you're live, you might make mistakes. It's live. You can't edit this thing. You can't, whatever happens, and you got to roll with it. And that's kind of the downside a little bit with live, but people do fine. It's fine. They can do it. But with the advantage of automated is that you can really nail this and make it an amazing production. You can even edit it down, and I'll show you all the tools that you can use to make that happen, and it's going to look perfect, and it's going to be so tight, and it's going to convert well for you. We're also going to talk about how to make sure that you're continuing to add people to the automated webinar. So you're marketing it, and you're constantly adding more people to that funnel, more people to that automated webinar. We're going to see that workshop, see that offer, going to get the follow-up sequences, and it becomes a well-oiled machine. Automated webinars, they really can get leveraged when you really focus on great content and you really focus on automating that funnel process, getting in new leads constantly. We'll talk about marketing in the challenge as well, so you'll have that system set up. All right, now you know how to maximize. Let's talk about the options when it comes to your automated webinar. I'm going to jump into Webinar Ninja, show you the 3 different options when it comes to offering an automated webinar to your audience, and then I'm going to give you your homework. So let's jump right in. All right, I'm inside of Webinar Ninja, and I'm creating an automated webinar. So to get to the screen, all you got to do is click the link that says Create Webinar up top here on any page, or you can go to My Webinars and click Create Webinar. So we're in automated webinars. Now, if I scroll down, you'll see there are 3 specific types of automated webinars or options I can choose when I'm creating it. One is offering specific dates and times. So for example, you can say, I want to run this every week on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays, for example. Or I may want to change this up and say, I want to run it every day and I want to run it at specific times during that day. So let's say 3 p.m. and then 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. This is all up to me. I can change the times. I can add more times per day if I like. This is one option. The other option is to go with the Watch Now option. This means that there are no specific times, but when people hit your registration page, they can just register and watch it immediately, okay? They don't have to wait for that date and time. They can just go straight and watch it immediately. So if I go to Watch Now, there's nothing for me to choose. I only need to choose the end time when I want to stop running this automated webinar. The third option is to run both, to have a Watch Now option and to have specific dates and times. So let's hit both, and I would have the same kind of selection for the specific dates and times, but I'll also have the option to have the Watch Now. So people would go to the registration page, they would see Watch Now and the days and times I want to offer it. Another thing we're going to talk about later on is some blackout dates and the advanced settings and all that kind of stuff, how to remove specific dates. But we're going to talk about that later when we set up the webinar. But right now, we're only going to focus on the type of automated webinar. Do you want to run one that's only specific dates and times, where you have no Watch Now option? Do you want to have the option where there's no dates, they just go to the page, they watch it immediately? Or do you want them to have the option to Watch Now or a specific date? It's up to you. Now remember, the thing that you need to remember in all 3 of these is that in Webinar Ninja, your attendees can submit questions on the webinar. You're not on the webinar, but you'll be emailed that question from the attendee so that you can go back and you can answer and you can help them out. A lot of these are buying questions for your offer, so you want to close those sales. So some people like to have the specific times and dates because they're like, hey, I want to have some sort of turnaround time for those answered questions. Some people don't want to have the Watch Now. Some people do want to have the Watch Now. It's up to you and your business. If you have a support team or an EA or somebody who can, be that first reply at least, then I would definitely go with the both option, because that way you give both options there for your attendees. So your homework is to choose which type of automated webinar are you going to be running. Specific dates and times, Watch Now only, or both. Your choice. Give it a think. Make sure you make a choice before tomorrow, because tomorrow we move on and we build upon what we learn and what we're doing. This is your assignment. This is your homework, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.